Okay. Hi, good evening. My name is Lynn Schlur, and I'm the head of the new MA program at Ben-Gurion University, African Sustainable Communities. We're here for a webinar, an information webinar, telling us a little bit about the program and answer any questions you have. And I want to make sure we're recording. Are we recording? Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so it's really nice to see some familiar faces and to also meet some new faces. And I even see some of our students that are in the program right now are here. And so that's also a little bittersweet, thinking that we're going to be saying goodbye to them soon. I really want to thank you all for coming and for taking interest in the program. We're a new program, African Sustainable Communities, that just started this year at Ben-Gurion University. And the purpose of this webinar is to give you some information about the program, hopefully give you a broad overview of the program rationale and its structure, and tell you about some of the courses and some of its objectives. And then we'll open up to hear from a few of our students that are currently enrolled. They can talk a little bit about their experiences. And then we'll open up for questions. So I will just jump right in. But if you have a question, you can either write it in the chat, and we have one of our staff members, Lihed, Adam. You want to say hi, Lihed? Wave. That's Lihed, and she will be answering questions in the chat if you have any. And we also have Shachar Ferrer. Shachar, you want to wave over there too? Also able to answer any questions that you guys might have that can come up during the chat. And again, we'll have lots of time in the end to answer questions as well. So, okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the vision of our program is actually very unique in the world of various graduate programs that engage with either critical development studies, or African studies. We're the only program in the world that actually tries to bring these two fields together. And why do that? Why bring together critical development studies along with African studies? Well, our idea is that, you know, a lot of people are really passionate and really care and really looking for the right way to achieve sustainable community development. You know, as we reach into the 21st century, more and more people are troubled and looking for ways to achieve community development and to realize their visions for their communities in ways that are both impactful and sustainable. And our program actually puts forth a theory or a worldview that says that oftentimes initiatives that take place based on sort of universal or very generalized approaches to development often miss some of the most crucial aspects of planning and knowledge production that can doom any endeavor. In our view, anyone that wants to plan for the future has to take into consideration the specific context within which they're operating, meaning politics, economics, history, sociology. That our idea is that planning for the future has to take in a worldview that very much understands local ways of knowing, local social and cultural interactions, local long-term legacies, and local memories and experiences with development and with development practitioners. So the idea behind our program is to try and bring together this worldview and epistemological body of knowledge known as African studies that has very much grown over the years in the shadow of many different interventions in local communities that have failed to give enough room and enough space for how local communities imagine themselves, articulate their objectives, envision the future. So our idea is to actually teach our students that a multidisciplinary approach, an approach that combines both some of the more general approaches towards development and the more specific sort of lessons that we've acquired through many years of studying African context, specifically bringing them together and making our students very well prepared to engage with local communities from a place of deep knowledge. So who are our students? Who are the people that are applying to our program? Well, on a very sort of basic level, you're one of our students if you have completed, you can be one of our students if you've completed a bachelor's degree with at least an 80 grade point average. And who are the graduates? Well, our graduates are people that are going to have acquired all kinds of skills and capacities to work in community development and project planning and implementation. So, you know, we're looking at this very broadly, though. Our goal is to bring as many different disciplines to the table, okay? We're not only looking for one group or one theoretical or disciplinary background. We're actually looking for a big of a mix as possible, okay? So like this year, we have people that have worked in agriculture and public health. We have architects, we have lawyers, we have people that have worked with women, people that have worked with youth, people in education, people in finance, people in social media, people interested in innovation, interested in employment. So we're actually, and we're looking to make the table as big as possible. We're looking to bring as many people around the table that could join in a conversation about the future. What should the future look like? What are our goals and objectives? What are our dreams? What are our aspirations for local communities, for ourselves, for our own communities? And how does that conversation between all of us create the most interesting, the broadest, and the most critical perspectives that are needed in order to achieve our goals? Okay, so we're very multidisciplinary, and we're looking for the biggest scope and range of disciplines as possible in order to make the conversation between all of us as broad and as detailed in different directions as we can make it. So the people who finish our degree, our program will earn an MA in the African Studies Department in the track of African Sustainable Communities. So why choose to study with us? Again, like what I said is that a lot of people are interested in international development and community development and sustainable development. These are all, you know, these are sort of the terms and phrases that are shaping our times, that are shaping our era, that are shaping our sort of world right now as we enter into the 21st century. But, you know, what our program offers is this unique approach that says that history matters, culture matters, religious beliefs matter, models of gender matter, youth experiences matter. And geography matters, you know, that rather than saying, oh, you know, development is just universally thought about and universally applied, we're actually asking people to think specifically for what does the future in African context look like. Now, I know there's 54 countries in Africa and there's many different contexts, and it isn't just one place or one way of knowing, but we believe that the continent taken as a whole can be used as the basis for an exploration that engages with theory and practice and tries to demonstrate the value of digging down deep into local experiences and local ways of knowing. So another really special part of our program is the way that it tries to take all of the practical knowledge that our students acquire in their year with us and then turn that into a practical project in a local community for at least 3 months in Africa. Every single one of our students will complete the program and go for 3 months work in a local project in a local community in Africa based on her or his actual interests. So if you're interested in public health, we will help you devise a project that engages with public health. If you're interested in local politics and democratization, we can help you come up with a project that engages with local politics and democratization. If you're interested in microfinance, if you're interested in drip irrigation, if you're interested in community dance projects, we have one student this year involved in that. If you're interested in museums, in women's health, in youth engagement. So there's a whole bunch of different areas that we're open to and excited about helping you to plan your project based on what you are passionate about. As our students can tell you, the conversation for us begins with each one of us saying, who am I and what do I really care about? What are the things that I truly care about? And that is the place that I'm going to start for thinking about what it is that I want to do. What impact can I make in the world? It's going to be based on what I personally bring to the table. What are the things that I truly care about? And those are the areas in which I'm going to be the most effective in making change. And so that's sort of one of the reasons why our program is very personally catered to each person trying to realize their own aspirations. And I think the other thing that I think we're very well equipped for and noteworthy is the way that we encourage our students to engage in critical thinking. It's really important for us that our students are constantly questioning why, how, maybe no, maybe yes, and that everyone comes to the table willing and ready to have that argument, you know, to ask those questions and to stand up for what you really believe in and to engage with each other in a respectful way, but one that really challenges and pushes us all to think further, harder, deeper about the issues being discussed. And finally, BGU has a fantastic reputation for many of the areas that we are going to be talking about over the course of the year. Critical development studies, obviously African studies, sustainable development, desert studies, environmental studies, social sciences, humanities, global health, development economics. We've got fantastic faculty in all of these areas that can really bring their expertise to your education and help you to deepen your knowledge further. So what does the program actually look like, okay? What does the school year look like? Well, for the first year, students are at BGU, at Ben-Gurion University in Beersheba for the entire academic year that begins in October and finishes in June. And during the course of that year, everyone takes a mix of classes that are, some of them are required classes and some of them are electives. Now, everyone will be have to choose if they're going to be in the thesis track, meaning that they'll write a thesis at the end of their project in Africa, or they want to be in the practical track. If you're in the thesis track, you get more credits for the thesis than the actual project summary that you write if you're in the practical track. And for that reason, you take less electives while you're at BGU, and you have more room at the end for credits that you get for finishing and for completing and submitting the thesis. So as you see here on the chart, there's a research track and applied track, and there's a bunch of courses that are shared. So most students will be taking most of their year is going to be studying together as a group, and that we really approach our cohort as a community itself, okay? And we really see the cohort as a sort of microcosm of the kind of communities that we're trying to aspire to develop. So we work together to build a dialogue amongst all of us, and the required classes create a sort of common base and body of knowledge and common experience that becomes this sort of shared journey for the whole group throughout the year. And that in the electives, people can kind of go off on their own for the more specific classes that answer their particular interests. So the required classes are a deconstructing development theory class, a post-colonial Africa, politics, economics, and society class, a sustainable development class, which is an intensive course at the Arava Institute at Kibbutz Keturah in the Arava Desert in Israel. There's a project workshop, there's a development management workshop, and then there's many different electives that I'll show you on the next screen. And after this first year, just showing you the entire program, oops, sorry, jumped ahead. So after the first year, people then go for the project in Africa, which is 6 credits. It's a minimum of 3 months. And then after that, everyone either in the research track writes their thesis, or in the practical track, write up a smaller and less extensive and less analytical project summary. Okay, and at the end, everyone will have 36 credits, which is enough to complete a master's degree. This is just a list of some of the electives that we have this year, so that are specifically part of our program. There's sports and development, youth and childhood in African context, the planet of slums, a look at megacities in the global south, Black critical theory, the politics of global health, liberation theology, and topics in environmental issues and sustainability. This is just a list of classes that are specifically in our department, but many of our students have been taking classes that are actually located in other departments at the university. And being at Ben-Gurion University means that you can take classes offered in any of the departments that are offered in English, for those of you that speak English. And for the Hebrew speakers, you're able to take any of the master's level classes that you want to take from throughout the university, that you come to us and say, look, I really need this class in, I don't know, tourism management, because I really see myself working in the field of tourism and I really want to develop some expertise there. You know, we're happy to enable that, okay? We're really happy for people to find the classes that suit their specific professional objectives. So the third semester is when everybody goes off for the really, really excellent, awesome part of the program, which is the project, which is everyone's initial individual projects in Africa. Here we really let students take the lead, okay? We meet with you over the course of the year. We hear about what you're interested in, and together we help you plan what is this project. Now there's many different kinds of projects, okay? Some students will say, you know, I really want to work with an international organization in Africa. I really want to do an internship with them. I want to be part of what they do. I want to get experience on my resume working for UNICEF or USAID or et cetera, et cetera. There's other people that want to work for a local NGO and they know one well, or they need our help trying to find a local NGO. Some people want to actually learn and specialize in assessment or evaluations. Other people might want to work more in the area of training. Some people are really interested in bringing some new kind of technology. Other people might be interested in a more analytical approach towards policies and how they're implemented in local settings. So really the projects, again, are very much self-catered, and they're supposed to answer to your professional interests, and they're supposed to advance your professional goals, okay? So we're super open to whatever people are interested in, and we're hoping that taking part in the project is beneficial and advances your personal aspirations for after the program. So everyone gets 6 credits for those projects. And the idea, though, is for our students that come from the continent, the idea is that you'll be going back to your communities, okay? So you'll actually be working in your own communities, and for our students that come from Israel, from Europe, and from the United States, you can choose, you know, anywhere that you'd like to go that you have a, you know, potential, you know, visa to enter. So are you right for the research track? Are you right for the applied track? You know, it's a question that a lot of people ask us. You know, it's very individual. Some people really, the thought for some people of writing an MA thesis is just, you know, not attractive to them, and they're not interested, and they just want to do something much more with practical application, and they're much more interested in getting as many classes as possible and not writing the thesis, but actually just focusing on a more applied approach and just writing the the project summary and evaluation at the end of those 3 months in Africa. That's fantastic. At the end, everyone gets the MA. So those interested in the thesis track, some of these people want to leave the door open to academia, maybe, or to a doctorate, or some people just love doing research and really want to write a thesis. So it's really individual, and it's a decision also that you don't have to take the day you arrive. It's something that we can help you decide, with sort of ongoing conversations as we get to know you, as we get to know your goals. It's really something that you don't have to actually decide until second semester. So who are the lecturers? Well, we're all fantastic. So a wonderful group of truly inspired and dedicated people. No, but all kidding aside, really, I could say that the best part of our program, in many ways, are the people that bring their passion to the classroom. Every single one is knowledgeable, engaged, concerned, and dedicated to making the experience as enriching, as educational, and as successful for every person possible. It's the kind of program where we know everyone's names, we know you well, we get to know our students, and we try and do we try and create an atmosphere that really helps each one move to the next level, whatever that is. There's the benefits of being at BGU. Beersheba is a really special city, and Ben-Gurion University is a really special university. It's very well known for, on the one hand, it's the way that students come that have a very special engagement with community activism, with social awareness, with civic engagement. It's a university that's very well known for students that come that want to make a change in the world. And so it's definitely a great place for our program. It's a great match. Again, like I said, with the Stable Care Desert Studies program and the various programs that we have, that in the new climate change School of Sustainability and Climate Change that was just opened, along with the existing program in African Studies, which are all world-renowned and well-respected, all part of excellence in education and research. That all promises to create a really worthwhile experience for everybody. And on top of that, the program benefits from the Tamar Golan Africa Center, which is really all the added extras to the program, okay? Aside from there being just, the academic program, which are classes and lectures, and the Tamar Golan Africa Center is a research institute at Ben-Gurion University that organizes, funds, and promotes all kinds of activities beyond the formal studies. So be it international conferences, symposiums, cultural events, social events, music and dancing, and evenings in Beersheba, and study tours, and just all kinds of activism with the community. The real plus about having the Tamar Golan Africa Center is that the ways that we can offer you a really special experience move far beyond the classroom. And we have lots going on. In fact, I'd say almost every week there's something going on through the Tamar Golan Africa Center that really helps students to enjoy a much broader experience than just formal studies. Okay, so also, why Israel? Why study all of this in Israel? For those of you coming from abroad, well, Israel has a really unique approach to international development generally, and to its relationship with Africa specifically. And I feel like our program really builds upon a long legacy of a close and very engaged relationship between Israel and our southern neighbors. And I feel like lots of people in Israeli society are truly dedicated and committed to knowing more about Africa, to engaging more with Africa, to building bigger ties and more bridges to the continent. And I feel that Israel has a very hands-on approach that's also very approachable. And the ways that Israel and Israelis have approached these different fields over the years give us kind of a special expertise, our own twist on how international development can be implemented and imagined. And I think it's a really interesting approach that is unique in the world stage, and one that makes our program stand out in many ways as opposed to other programs in the world. So here's some practical information for those people that really want the practical information, since we have to give that as well. So what are the estimated costs of the program? Well, first of all, you have to apply. And so the application process begins with a $25 fee. And then after that, there's tuition. Tuition for the entire degree, which is basically the year at Ben-Gurion, and then the project, this segment, and then the write-up part, which is either the project write-up or the thesis write-up. So altogether, the program itself for international students is a total of $10,000, which can be divided over the 2 years and can be made in installment payments. The dorms, if you choose to live in the dorms, are about $450 a month. Living costs, this is truly individual, and it's very hard for us to say in general, but just living costs beyond dorms or housing is about $600 or $700 a month, approximately. And then there's health insurance, which is about $90 a month or so. And then there's a visa to Israel, which depends which country you're from and how much that costs, and it's different for different places. And then there's the third semester, which is the part of travel abroad to Africa, which would be about another $3,000, $3,500. We have a few different scholarship options. We have for people coming from the continent, we have full scholarship opportunities for students that meet the academic requirements and pass successfully through the application process. So for some students, we're able to offer a full scholarship, which includes travel and dorms and tuition and a small living stipend. And for other students, Israelis and people coming from Europe or Asia or the United States, we're able to offer for most of the students scholarships for the practical part in Africa, the travel to Africa and the segment in Africa. We're able to offer that for most of our students as well. And then in terms of other scholarships for Israelis, there's other various things that we could sort of tell you about and encourage you to apply for, okay? There's no way for us to promise ahead of time that everybody will get a scholarship, but all I could say at this point is that there are different scholarship routes. And it's definitely worth asking us what they are and what you could apply for and what you're eligible for, okay? So I'll just leave that at that for now. So what do I have to do to apply? To apply, I have to go to the website and I have to fill out the online form, and then I have to submit my transcripts, official transcripts, and a copy of your degree. You have to send us a copy of the first cover of your passport. If you don't have a passport, you can't apply for the program. So first apply for a passport and then apply for the program. There's no exception to that rule at all. We need a copy of your CV, 2 letters of recommendation, one of which has to be from an academic advisor, and then 2 essays according to the instructions on our website. And all of this should be submitted by April 15th. The admissions process is you submit all your materials. We make sure that you've submitted everything. Once we have all of your materials submitted and you've paid for the admissions fee, then we process your application. We don't process it until we have all of it. And then we invite the candidates that pass through the initial screening for a Zoom interview. Everyone will do a Zoom interview with us. And after the Zoom interview, around June, we hope to tell students whether or not they've been accepted to the program, and that they should, if they're coming from abroad, they should begin their visa process, okay? In terms of this year, the student body, we have 15 students from the continent and 8 students from Israel/international background, just to give you a sense of the numbers this year. Just one note on COVID, on Corona. Unfortunately, we're still in the midst of a global pandemic, and we're hoping and praying that Omicron is the last phase of this pandemic. But if there's one thing we've all learned in the last 2 years, is never say never. And then just when you think you're done with it, it comes back in some other way. So we just want to say as a disclaimer to all of you that, you know, we have to just be flexible and open to whatever developments are coming, and realize that things change very quickly, and that if there has to be quarantines or vaccination requirements or any other kind of thing like that, we ask everyone to be flexible and aware of all those changes that could be possible, and just sort of accept them as they come. So I'm done with my presentation. So now what I'd really love to do is open the floor to, we have 3 different students that are studying this year right now, that we just want to, a couple of minutes each, just talk and tell something about their engagement with the program, and maybe from their own personal perspectives. So I want to open the floor now to, why don't we start with Olabumi? You want to start?
Yes, I'm happy to.
Tell us where you're from and go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Olubumi and I'm from Nigeria. If I would say anything about this program, it's that it's a high profile one. It's one that ordinarily you would have a restriction. But here, the beauty of it is that the African Sustainable Communities Program is open to everyone. And it means that you shouldn't say no to yourself, right? Apply. I do not have a background in the humanities. I studied mathematical science and majored in computer science as a first degree. And then I did finance as a second degree. And here I am doing African Sustainable Communities, which is a humanities or an arts program. The encouragement is don't think that you do not have a background or you do not know enough about Africa to study African studies. I've learned a lot more about Africa after I got here than while I was in Africa. So please be encouraged. Don't say no to yourself, because if I can do it, maybe you can too.
Thank you so much, Olabumi. Okay, maybe Orly, do you want to be next?
Yes, hi everybody, I'm Orly, I'm from Washington, DC. My background kind of was in the humanities. It was in anthropology and sociology with a minor in human rights. But I've been really loving this program so far. And one of my favorite things is definitely the amazing field trips we've been on. We've been on a lot so far, and we're going on even more next semester. So we visited Rahat so far, which is a Bedouin community in the Negev. Nazareth, the city where Jesus lived. We also did a 5-day study tour at the Rava Institute for Environmental Studies that's on the Jordan border. We also went to Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Africa desk, which was in Jerusalem, which is really, really cool. So one of my favorite courses is Lynn's project workshop course, where we analyze the various projects we want to do and look up possible ways the projects would impact communities using different models and approaches. So in class, we discussed our project ideas with our colleagues to get their insight and advice, which helped shape our thesis outlines, which made me realize that this is more than a class. It's also a support group where people genuinely want to help one another and just be there for one another and give their ideas, which, everybody's opinion matters a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Orly. Okay, last but not least, Stephen.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much, Lynn, for the presentation. It was awesome. Okay, for me, let me start by saying, for me, I wanted to come to Israel because Israel is one of the unique countries in the world. These guys, they didn't participate in the imperialism, but right now are the most developed, is one of the most developed nations. So for me, I wanted to learn from the best. How did they do it from the scratch to become one of the most developed nations? All right, my name is Stephen Chikomero. I'm from Zimbabwe, and my background is in economic history. And I have experience in working in development issues with NGOs. One thing that I've realized with NGOs today is there is a depth of new ideas in the NGOs as people are rushing to implement development projects, right? So there's one thing that is interesting about this program, right? This program, they give you the context, right? They give you the interest dynamics in which Africa finds itself in. What are the problems in Africa, right? So after giving you all that, they encourage to approach the problems in what I would like to call Marx's PDIA approach, whereby it's a problem-driven solutions rather than moving around Africa with a bag of problems that you implement on different, with a bag of solutions that you implement on different problems. So that's one of the things that I like about this program. It gives you analytical tools to tackle problems within, not just someone coming with solutions to tackle local problems. Right, that's one. And the second thing is the ambience and the environment the department creates, the Department of African Studies. It creates an environment where you feel like you're in a family, right? So for the first time in my life, I was just laughing. For the first time in my life, I didn't even know that, am I registered or not? The student coordinator took care of everything, you see. So you don't have to worry about most of the things. You just have to ask, and they'll give you the information that you want to inquire about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks so much. Okay, so I see lots of different names, and I'm really happy to hear any questions anyone has, anything you want to know. This is the time we'll open up to all of you out there and answer your questions. Anything you want to know or wonder. Don't be shy. We were so informative that you have all the information you need. Okay.
You can also write in the chat if you don't have a microphone or you don't want to talk in front of everyone, and then we'll answer it here now.
Yeah. Okay, so, and also if I want to remind you that you can also obviously get in touch with us afterwards. If something comes up that you weren't sure about, or you have some questions, we're happy to follow up. Okay, so I guess we won't keep you any longer. I really want to thank you all for coming. The recording will be made available for sure. If you look at our website, we'll put the recording up there. There's also one from last year, I think, for those of you that really want to see a video.
Lynn, there's a question.
Last year's version. What's that? Did you have a
There's
question?
a question.
Viola?
Tukiwi has a question.
Where's
Yeah, thank you. Hi. Yeah, thank you. I wanted to ask, I joined in a bit late. I had problems with the connectivity. I'm Tukiwe from Zambia, and I've actually studied in Israel before already, but I would like to do another program. My main interest is the thesis track. I studied international development at Gloco at Huji, but I never got a chance to do my thesis at the time. So I just wanted to find out how easy it is in the African Sustainable Communities Program to find like a supervisor support, either within the school or just within Israel mostly. Just how easy is it so far on the program for those that are doing thesis to find supervisors? Yeah,
well,
that's what I want to ask.
Okay, thank you. What's your name? Tukiwe?
It's pronounced Tukiwe.
Tukiwe, okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Tukiwe. So thank you for your question. You know, everyone that writes a thesis is going to have an advisor. That's a given. You have to have an advisor if you write the thesis. You know, in order to move into the thesis track, you have to obtain a certain degree, 85 degree average, which our students are all aware of over the course of the year. Anyone that meets that requirement can move into the thesis track. And then once you're in the thesis track, we work to help everyone find an advisor. You have to have an advisor. So
okay.
If you're in the thesis track, you'll have an advisor.
Okay, so it's just one supervisor, not two.
It has to be at least one. Some people have two. It depends. You know, if you want to, you can have two. You can have one in the university and outside of the university. It has to have somebody at least from the university, and then there could be a second from outside the university, even outside of Israel.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Ayodele? There you are.
Good evening. Yes, good evening. Thank you, Lee. So my name is Ayodele from Nigeria. You mentioned earlier, you mentioned earlier that it's for students who made an 80% average in their BA. I would like to ask, is there any concession for people who made lower, maybe 70, 65?
You know, it's oftentimes the way that we translate the 80 takes into consideration that in different places, the grading system is different. Like, for example, in the UK, you know, they have a much lower scale of grading. So it's complicated, and we have had even this year to translate grades that, you know, the way that it's calculated, we know is different in different places. So we definitely take that into consideration. We put very strong emphasis on where you did your BA, what kind of recommendations you have, how good your writing samples are, and how well you do in the Zoom interview, okay? So those things are very, very important, and we definitely understand that the calculation of the number 80 is relative, and that in different national contexts, it's a different thing. We are aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Viola? Tukiwe, did you have another question?
Yes, it's a follow-up from the question that the previous speaker just asked. So what happens to people that have didn't make 85 or didn't make like in their BA, but like they have another MA, maybe that meets the 85 qualification, but the system, when I've when I've done the registration, it's only asking for results from my BA, but I would want also to share my results from my MA.
The question about the 85 is more relating to the first semester at BGU. It's not about, it's more about the first semester at BGU. At the end of first semester, you have to have an 85.
I think I have another answer for your question. You wanted to know how you can upload the documents of your MA because the system only requires a BA.
Exactly.
That question? Yeah.
Yes.
So okay. So in the system, you can also put that you already have an MA as well as a BA, and you can upload and we do recommend it to upload the documents of your MA as well.
Okay. Oh, there's a provision for that?
When you sign up, then the system asks you what are your previous was it schooling or your academic background. So you can write the BA and you can write an MA as well. So it doesn't let you just do one of them. You can write more.
Yes, so the writing I wrote, but when I think it's automatic when they ask you for document upload, they only want for your BA because you're showing that you want to study towards an MA.
It's okay. You can also email it to us. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Or you can email it to africama@BGU. It's the email's on the website. Just email it to us if you can't upload it to the system.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Mel. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for everything. I'm sorry if you spoke about this and I may have missed it, but the part that's classes here, is it all it's all in Beersheba and BGU or some on Zoom? Is it hybrid?
That's a great, thank you, Yael. I almost forgot about that. Okay, great question for the Israelis.
Yes.
So all of the in-person classes that are required are on Tuesdays. There's only one day a week where you have to be in Beersheba, okay? That's very important for our Israeli students that are working, okay? So there's one day a week we have to be in Beersheba. Any other required classes that don't take place on Tuesdays are either our Zoom or hybrid. And there's lots and lots of electives that you could take other times. We have several online options. There's some classes that are totally online, just recorded. There's some classes that take place in Zoom. So we only expect people to be in person for 1 day a week during the year, and for the seminars that we do a one intensive seminar one time a year. We go to the Arava Institute for 5 days, and that's something that everybody has to come to. But that's one, you know, way in advance about that, and you have to, we'll tell you already in September about that, and you'll know the dates, which will be in January. So and it'll be around the weekend. But that's, that's loads of fun, and we had a fantastic time. So you don't want to miss that. So other than that, it's only 1 day a week. So thank you, Yael. It was a great question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Jean-Claude? Yeah.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much for the presentation. I'm JC from Rwanda. Maybe I missed this part of the presentation, but again, thank you so much for such an insightful presentation. But I wanted to ask, maybe it was responded before because of my bad internet. It's around the practical part of the program. If there is any, practical aspects such as a specific practical internship or something else related to that, that would actually provide, you know, a know-how aspect of the program to the students. The same is also related to the scholarship. If there is, you know, full funded, you might have responded this in your presentation, but I had back and forth internet challenges. Thank you.
No problem. JC, you go by JC? Okay, no
Correct.
problem. Yeah. So yes, there's two things, okay? The practical, on the one hand, there's the project segment of the program, which is a minimum of 3 months in a local community, local organization in Africa. That's totally practical. That's totally practical. One thing that some students this year have expressed an interest in has been also during the year in Israel, also having some kind of a practical internship experience. So I'll just say that everyone must do the project part in a local community in Africa. Everyone does that. It's part of the program. In terms of doing an internship in Israel, here we really, the burden of that is on you in the respect that you have to come with the idea and with the motivation, and we help you. We really help you. We are really happy to help you, but it's not built-in part of the program. So if you come to us and say, I really want to work in a local healthcare center, you know, I really want to understand about community, you know, early childhood vaccinations or something, you know, we can see about helping you to set up that kind of an internship, you know, or if you're interested in conflict resolution in schools, we can help you get that kind of an internship. You know, we can think about these things with you, but we can't. That's not part of the program. It's not an obligatory part of the program. Okay, so students that have lots of motivation and want to do an internship while in Israel, we're happy to help you organize that. Okay, but in terms of the project in Africa, that you have to do. That's a must, and everyone does that for sure. Okay, that's not a you know, option. You know, so yeah, so then you'll definitely get you know, you get all the experience that you want. It's something, it's based on what you aspire to.
Yeah, if I may add, we also give practical workshops on project management in the sustainable field. And we give like extra sessions on topics that the students asking. If they want to learn how to apply for grants, how to do a presentation better, etc. So we really can give you all the tools that you ask for us in terms of practical knowledge. Liam, there is a question in the chat.
Let me open the chat. How is this different than global? I mean, we're very, very different than the global program. I'll say both in terms of our worldview, we're very, you know, we don't believe that maybe I won't be so strong about saying we don't. I'll say that we do believe and that there's an added value to approaching topics of sustainable development within a particular historical, political, cultural context as broadly defined. Okay, so when we talk about sustainable development, we also talk about you know, we have a conversation in the project workshop about vocabulary and what words can you and can you not use in African context. Should we use the word tribe? Should we use, you know, and on the other hand, we engage with the idea of Ubuntu, for example, in our program, of this notion of collective communalism. What is communalism in an African context? Okay, so we ask people to kind of consider the power and the potential of history, and of culture, and of social perspectives, ideology, and we look in a really we look through that lens and say that sustainable development means that you definitely have to understand the construction and fluidity of gender in a specific context in order to make sure that if you're going to be putting a water pump in a particular community, you better know what the women in that community think about that water pump, and how are you going to engage with those women? How are you going to approach those women? Well, you better learn a bit about what it means, what the concept of gender has come to mean over time in African contexts, because otherwise that pump might not be working in a year's time, that water pump that you put in just might not be working. So, and that's just one example, okay? We engage a lot with experiences of African youth after the very specific history of Africa in the 1980s and 90s, structural adjustment in African communities, neoliberalism in African communities, what ways that shaped youth experiences very specifically in African communities. How does the future look for youths after that history? So we ask very specific questions that hopefully will give you a very useful toolbox to go back to your own community with. And it's a very different approach than is taken at Global, which is just generally international development. It doesn't require you to study history or culture or society in any way. Anybody else? Okay, so I really want to thank everyone for coming. I want to encourage you to be in touch with any questions you have. Reach out to us. We're happy to answer them. I really want to thank the staff, first of all, and also to the students that are here that took the time to be here for the session. This is kind of bittersweet because we think that maybe you're going to be leaving some point. So that makes us sad. And I look forward to hearing from all of you that have participated and that are exploring the possibility of being part of the program. And we hope to see your applications. So we'll say goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.